Hello, everyone. I'll be here again. I was recently reading this book on kids and kids culture called We're Friends, Right? Inside Kids Culture by William A. Cozzaro. And it's basically about this ethnographer of kids culture. And what he does is the time he was doing his research, there was nothing like this that existed. So he would just go into these classrooms and into these schools and ask permission to just be like one of the kids. But it's this big person who's just showing up in these classrooms with these kids, and the kids are just like not knowing what to do with this person. Is this a teacher? Is this a parent? Why is he here? But he would just like be in the playground and play with the kids, and slowly they warm up with him. And he goes to three or four different schools, a couple in the United States and a couple in Italy. In one of the first ones, they're like, Bill, you're too big. You have a big belly. What are you doing here? And then slowly they warm up to him because they realize that he knows everybody's names because he actively tries to memorize everybody's names, their siblings' names. And they're like, wow, you even know my brother. You even know my sister. And they ask him, what about your brothers and sisters? And he talks about his siblings because he has a big family. That gives him an in into the kids' little world where they're like, okay, he has brothers and sisters too. And then slowly in this school, they start inviting him to their birthday parties. And apparently, then the next thing is that Bill has to be invited to all the birthday parties. And and then he goes to so then he's like he becomes like one of them, even though he's big, even though he's older. And then he goes to Italy where he knows very little Italian, and then he's like this big dumb kid where the kids are laughing and they're like, haha, he doesn't know anything. And then through that vulnerability, the kids develop a friendship with him where they are like teaching him. And I've seen um, a lot of humanitarian workers that come to other countries where the best way for them to learn is through hanging out with kids. And this seems very similar, where the kids just immediately accept him and they're like, yeah, we will teach you, even though they know that he knows another language, potentially English, but they're so comfortable hanging out with him and slowly start teaching him and accepting him as this big dumb kid. And then he goes to Indianapolis, where he is this new friend to these kids in this black community. And then he again returns back to Italy, where he's a crazy kid because he doesn't know the language. So everybody is making fun of him and trying to teach him the language and make him more comfortable in the school. And how the chapter ends is that then Bill is like, they're like, Bill belongs to us. He is part of us. And it's so beautiful. For me, the biggest take in this is that kids are not just passive recipients. Our students are not just passive recipients of whatever we are teaching them. They have their own personalities, they have their own culture too. And are we spending enough time to understand their culture and what they are into, what they like or dislike? Or we're just coming in as like, I want to teach them, I want to give them culture, I want to give them education. And in regards to that, I have many stories, but I would like to share one of them, and I would love to hear some of yours too. Just the way I look live in Colorado right now, and I go into the school, and one of the middle school that I go into now, it's just like sometimes I'm walking in. There are like over 900 middle schoolers, and there's this sea of kids that do not look anything like me, and they're just like looking at me, and they just don't know what to do with me. And sometimes I feel like Bill and being an ethnographer, but I'm not. Um, but I was recently, a couple months ago, I was in a middle school, and I was observing in a Spanish class. So I was sitting right next to this kid. Let's say his name is John. And John was fairly mischievous, and he got kicked out of class a couple of times. But as I was sitting next to him, I kind of developed this friendship. He understands that I'm not potentially from here, and he's like, "Where are you from?" And I explained where I'm from. And during class breaks, we would hang out, and he would do things to sometimes disturb some of his classmates, and I wanted to figure out why those things are happening. And one day, what happened is, uh, he was just like, "Abby, do you know how to do the gritty?" And I did not know what that was, but I was like, "Well, if you teach me." And then during break, he showed me how to hit the gritty. I don't know if it was appropriate or not, but I did it with him. And believe it or not, just going down to his level and being with him as a kid and just doing the gritty, ever since he was just telling everybody, he's like, "Abi is my friend. He can do the gritty." And wherever he went, he just started treating me. Ever since that moment, he just started treating me like his friend. And little things like that can take us a long way. And then I did that with my kids. They're middle school age too, and they laughed so hard. And somewhere it created a difference where they're like, even my kids coming to their culture and listening to some of the music that they listen to, the smile on their face is like worth everything to me. And so my question is, what all are we doing in order to understand children's culture, our students' culture, and even to gain their trust and loyalty, like Bill did, where he kind of just started playing with them and talking to them in their language, and understanding them, giving time and attention and empathy. And so what all are we doing in order to gain the trust and loyalty of our students? I'm not saying everybody has to hit the gritty like me, but maybe you have better creative ideas of participating with the kids and learning alongside our students. So I would love to hear your thoughts, or if you have any funny stories. Look forward to seeing you next time. But before that, I would love to hear if you guys have any cool strategies to develop friendships with students and gain their trust and loyalty.